Breaking news, folks. Congress just approved an emergency measure that will send $2,000 stimulus checks to millions of Americans on SSI and SSDI starting tomorrow. Yes, you heard that right, $2,000 hitting bank accounts within the next 24 hours if you're receiving supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance benefits. This video could literally change your life as we're talking about funds that start hitting accounts tomorrow morning. If you're curious or skeptical, you should stick around as we break down this unprecedented move, explain what it means for you, and discuss why it's sending shockwaves through Washington. Welcome to Benefits Insider, your trusted source for the latest updates on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and stimulus payments tailored for American seniors and disabled individuals. I hope you are all doing well. Let's get right into it. If you're receiving SSI or SSDI benefits, you're going to want to pay close attention because this could have a huge impact on your financial situation. Before we dive in, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps us out and ensures you don't miss any important updates like this one. Alright, let's get right into it with a surprising move that sent shockwaves through Washington and across the country. Congress has just passed an emergency relief bill that will provide a $2,000 stimulus payment to millions of Americans receiving supplemental security income and Social Security disability insurance. This is not a small development. We're talking about direct payments that could dramatically improve the lives of disabled individuals and low-income seniors across the nation. Now, I know this sounds almost too good to be true. So let's break down exactly what this bill entails and what it means for you. This is a massive development that is going to affect millions of Americans. According to the Social Security Administration, there are currently over 8 million people receiving SSI benefits and approximately 9.5 million receiving SSDI in the United States. That's a huge portion of the population that will be impacted by this emergency measure. The bill, officially titled the American Economic Relief and Recovery Act, passed both the House and Senate with surprisingly strong bipartisan support. Lawmakers from both parties cited the ongoing economic challenges faced by many Americans, particularly vulnerable populations dealing with rising inflation and increased cost of living, as the primary motivation for this unprecedented move. For too long, our disabled citizens and low-income seniors have struggled to make ends meet on fixed incomes that simply haven't kept pace with rising costs, said one key senator during the bill's passage. This payment represents our commitment to ensuring they can meet their basic needs during these challenging economic times. Now I know what many of you are thinking: how is the government going to pay for this? It's a valid question and one that was hotly debated during the bill's passage. According to the bill, the funding will come from unspent pandemic relief funds and emergency budget allocations. Now, let's talk about what this means for you personally. If you're a recipient of SSI or SSDI benefits, you can expect to see $2,000 in your account starting tomorrow. This payment is on top of your regular benefit amount. So, for example, if you're currently receiving $914 per month in SSI benefits, you'll now be getting an additional $2,000 as a one-time payment. This is a game changer for many people. Let's look at a few scenarios. For a disabled individual relying on SSDI, this $2,000 boost could be the difference between struggling to pay bills and having a comfortable financial cushion. For an SSI recipient who may be receiving the maximum federal benefit of $914 per month in 2023, this one-time payment represents more than 2 months of additional income, offering new hope and relief in challenging economic times. I want to take a moment to address some questions and concerns that I'm sure many of you have. Is this a one-time payment or recurring? This is a one-time emergency stimulus payment, not a permanent increase to monthly benefits. Will this affect my other benefits? The bill includes provisions to ensure that this payment does not negatively impact eligibility for other assistance programs like SNAP or Medicaid. What if I haven't filed taxes recently? No worries. If you're already receiving SSI or SSDI benefits, you're automatically eligible and don't need to take any action. Now let's talk about the distribution of these funds. As mentioned earlier, the first payments are scheduled to go out tomorrow. This applies to both direct deposit and paper checks, though direct deposit recipients will receive their payments first. Here's what you need to know about getting your payment. If you're already receiving benefits via direct deposit, you don't need to do anything. The $2,000 will be deposited into your account starting tomorrow. If you currently receive paper checks, your stimulus check will be mailed out within the next 7 days. The Social Security Administration will be sending out official notifications to all beneficiaries in the coming days, so keep an eye on your mail for this important information. What makes this stimulus payment particularly significant is the speed at which it's being implemented. Typically, government assistance programs can take months or even years to roll out, but this emergency measure is being fast-tracked due to the urgent economic needs of SSI and SSDI recipients. Congressional leaders worked through the weekend to finalize the details and ensure that the payments could be processed as quickly as possible. This demonstrates a rare moment of bipartisan cooperation in Washington, with both parties recognizing the critical importance of providing immediate financial relief to some of America's most vulnerable citizens. The timing of this stimulus payment couldn't be more crucial. With inflation still affecting the cost of everyday essentials like groceries, utilities, and medications, many SSI and SSDI recipients have been forced to make difficult choices about which necessities they can afford each month. This $2,000 payment will provide a much-needed buffer, allowing recipients to catch up on bills, purchase essential items they've been putting off, or even build a small emergency fund for future needs. For many, this could mean the difference between financial stability and spiraling deeper into economic hardship. It's worth noting that this stimulus payment comes after months of advocacy from disability rights organizations and senior advocacy groups who have been pushing for increased support for those on fixed incomes. These organizations have highlighted the disproportionate impact of inflation on those who rely on government benefits, pointing out that while the cost of living has increased significantly, benefit adjustments have failed to keep pace. Their persistent efforts have finally paid off, resulting in this emergency measure that acknowledges the unique financial challenges faced by SSI and SSDI recipients. Let's talk about eligibility in more detail, as I know many of you are wondering if you qualify for this payment. The good news is that eligibility is straightforward. If you are currently receiving SSI or SSDI benefits, you automatically qualify for the $2,000 stimulus payment. There's no income threshold or additional requirements to meet. This simplicity is intentional, designed to ensure that the funds reach those who need them without bureaucratic delays or complicated application processes. The Social Security Administration will use the same payment information they already have on file for your regular benefits, meaning there's no need to provide additional documentation or fill out any forms. For those of you who have just recently been approved for SSI or SSDI and are still waiting for your first regular payment, you'll be pleased to know that you're still eligible for this stimulus. As long as you've been approved for benefits by the time the stimulus payments begin processing, you'll receive the $2,000 payment along with other recipients. This inclusive approach ensures that even those who are new to the system won't miss out on this critical financial support. I've received some questions about how this payment might affect other benefits or assistance programs that many SSI and SSDI recipients rely on. This is a valid concern, as we've seen in the past that increases in income can sometimes jeopardize eligibility for programs like Medicaid, SNAP, food stamps, or housing assistance. Fortunately, lawmakers have addressed this issue directly in the legislation. The bill explicitly states that this one-time $2,000 payment will not be counted as income for the purpose of determining eligibility for any federally funded assistance program. Additionally, the payment will not count toward resource limits for a period of 12 months after receipt. This means you can receive this stimulus without fear of losing your healthcare coverage, food assistance, or housing subsidies. Now, let's address some concerns about potential scams related to this stimulus payment. Unfortunately, whenever there's a major government benefit announcement, scammers quickly try to take advantage of the situation. Please be aware that the Social Security Administration will never call, text, or email you asking for personal information or payment in order to process your stimulus. They already have all the information they need to send your payment. If anyone contacts you claiming you need to provide information or pay a fee to receive your stimulus, it's a scam. The legitimate payment will come automatically the same way you receive your regular benefits. If you encounter a potential scam, report it to the Federal Trade Commission at ftc.gov/complaint. I also want to talk about how this stimulus payment could potentially help the broader economy. When relief funds are provided to individuals with lower incomes, like many SSI and SSDI recipients, these funds tend to be spent quickly on necessities rather than being saved. Economists refer to this as having a high multiplier effect, meaning each dollar spent cycles through the economy multiple times, supporting local businesses and potentially creating jobs. So not only does this stimulus provide direct help to those who receive it, but it also contributes to economic activity in communities across the country. This was one of the compelling arguments that helped secure bipartisan support for the measure. For those wondering about taxation, I have good news. This $2,000 stimulus payment will not be subject to federal income tax. This is consistent with how previous stimulus payments have been treated by the IRS. This tax-free status means you'll get to use the full amount without setting aside a portion for next year's tax bill. However, I always recommend consulting with a tax professional about your specific situation if you have questions about how any payment might affect your overall tax picture. Some of you might be wondering how this stimulus payment relates to other benefits or increases that have been discussed recently. It's important to clarify that this $2,000 payment is separate from the annual cost of living adjustment, COLA, that is applied to Social Security, SSI, and SSDI benefits. The COLA is a permanent adjustment to your monthly benefit amount based on inflation, while this stimulus is a one-time emergency payment. Similarly, this stimulus is distinct from any potential legislation regarding Social Security reform or benefit increases that may be under consideration in Congress. This is a standalone emergency measure specifically designed to provide immediate financial relief. I've received questions about whether this stimulus payment will affect representative payees, individuals who manage benefits on behalf of recipients who cannot manage their own finances. If you have a representative payee, the $2,000 stimulus will be sent to them, just like your regular monthly benefits. Representative payees are required to use these funds for your benefit, prioritizing your current needs for food, shelter, clothing, medical care, and personal comfort items. If you're a representative payee receiving this stimulus on behalf of a beneficiary, remember that these funds should be used to improve the beneficiary's quality of life and address any unmet needs they may have. For those of you who are dual eligible, meaning you receive both SSI and SSDI benefits, you might be wondering if you'll receive two stimulus payments. The legislation specifies that each eligible individual will receive one $2,000 payment, regardless of whether they receive one or both types of benefits. This approach ensures equity among all beneficiaries and simplifies the distribution process. However, if you're married and both you and your spouse receive benefits, you'll each receive your own $2,000 payment, potentially bringing $4,000 into your household. Let's talk about some practical ways you might consider using this stimulus payment. While everyone's financial situation is different, and you should prioritize based on your own needs, here are some suggestions that might be helpful. First, address any immediate necessities like overdue bills, medications, or essential repairs to your home or vehicle. Second, consider building or replenishing an emergency fund to provide a buffer against future unexpected expenses. Third, if you've been putting off medical or dental care due to cost concerns, this might be an opportunity to address those health needs. Fourth, if your basic needs are met and you have some funds remaining, you might consider investing in items that could improve your quality of life or independence, such as assistive devices, home modifications, or technology that could help manage your condition. I want to emphasize how significant this development is in the broader context of disability and senior benefits in America. For decades, advocates have pointed out that SSI and SSDI benefit levels have failed to keep pace with the true cost of living, especially for those with disabilities who often face additional expenses related to their conditions. While this one-time payment doesn't solve the systemic issues with these programs, it represents an acknowledgement by lawmakers that current benefit levels are insufficient. Many advocates are hoping that this emergency measure might open the door to more comprehensive reforms that would permanently increase benefit levels and update outdated program rules. As we wrap up this important announcement, I want to remind you of a few key points. If you receive SSI or SSDI benefits, you don't need to take any action to receive this $2,000 stimulus payment. It will be automatically sent to you the same way you receive your regular benefits. The payments will begin processing tomorrow, with direct deposit recipients receiving funds first, followed by those who get paper checks. This payment will not affect your eligibility for other assistance programs like Medicaid or SNAP, and it won't be taxed as income. Be vigilant about potential scams. The Social Security Administration will never contact you asking for information or payment to process your stimulus. In closing, I want to thank you for watching Benefits Insider. We're committed to bringing you the most up-to-date and accurate information about benefits and financial support programs that affect seniors and people with disabilities. This $2,000 stimulus represents a significant, if temporary, boost for millions of Americans who have been struggling with rising costs on fixed incomes. While it may not solve all financial challenges, it provides some breathing room and acknowledgement of the unique economic pressures faced by benefit recipients. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any important updates about this stimulus or other benefit programs. Until next time, take care and stay informed.